Alright, well, let's get into it. Cock-a-doodle-doo. If you're a dude who loves dudes, Chick Fil A hates you. Not really. Or the left would have you think that. Let's see what's going on. This is from the Mary Sue, which I feel like if your name is Mary Sue, you're one of two things. You're either a complete prude or a total slut. There's not like a lot of in between there. You're either Mary Sue, the girl next door, or Mary Sue Triple X, who's getting all holes filled with big black cock on Pornhub. So yeah, kind of an interesting spectrum that the Mary Sues fall along. But what did the Mary Sue write? And if you're not familiar with the Mary Sue, it's a very, very whiny, annoying blog that bitches about all things social justice-y. Is good chicken really more important to you than homophobia? Yes, it is. What do they say? If you care about queer people, you have no business eating at Chick Fil A. And that is the thesis that the article really never proves. All it does is list a bunch of products from companies that have kind of crossed whatever ridiculous societal line we have in place now, and it explains what. Yeah, but I could understand why you would use the makeup that they poisoned 50 million rabbits with, because it's not homophobic. And then they circle back to the chicken, but they're like, the chicken is homophobic. So this is the deal. Chick Fil A is, and if you can hear that, I'm sorry. It's it's the middle of the morning in Jersey City, and it's fucking warm out, so I got the window open, so you got to deal with a little truck noise. Chick Fil A is owned by a very religious family. They close on Sundays, and they donate to a lot of religious causes. And obviously, there's hardcore Christians. They do not support things like gay marriage. I don't think they've ever really come out and said anything hateful. I think they've just said, look, our religious beliefs don't quite jive. And they've donated to a number of Christian organizations that, help lobby to prevent things, gay marriage and such like that. So I understand how it might irk you a bit if you're a gay person, but also not one of those things where it's like, hey, no one's allowed to eat there now, because they actually do. They do a lot of good. Like they provided food for after the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando. They provided, I think, food for everyone who was donating blood at the triage. So this is not the big evil company that people would have you believe. They're just people with their wonky weirdo beliefs, right? Isn't that what the left is always telling us? You have to. This is their beliefs. They believe that if you're an Israeli and you're riding on a bus, we should blow you up, or it's just their belief. It's Islamic. It's Islamophobic to question it. So that's their belief, and they got hammered a little bit in the article, because I guess even when they do good and donate to the blood drive, was a blood drive that gay men were not allowed to participate in. Which there's a reason for that, guys. It's that gay sex puts you at a higher risk for HIV than regular sex, because when a penis goes into a nice lubed up greasy vagina, there's usually not a lot of ripping and tearing of the thin skin membranes around those genitals. Now, when a penis goes into an anus, there's a great deal of ripping and tearing, because the tight anus creates friction against the penis, which has very thin skin, and creates bleeding. And the anus, which is not designed for penetration, also bleeds as it's being penetrated, so it can bleed there. And when blood from one genital goes to blood from another genital, we have a greater risk for something that we call HIV. That's sort of the bro science explanation. And if you're a medical professional and I'm completely full of shit, by all means, please jump in. But so it makes sense then that if you're doing especially an emergency blood drive, where it's like, hey, we're triaging people, we got to get this shit, we don't have to test, we don't have time for that shit, that you would say, okay, look, if you have certain risk factors, we just can't include you. It has nothing to do with the fact that you love another man. It has everything to do with the fact that you might be engaging in a sexual practice that could lead to the spread of HIV. I mean, that's without an ounce of homophobia. That is a very legitimate precaution. If you've served in the military, especially the Marine Corps, I don't know about the other, but you do a ORM, we call it Operational Risk Assessment. I'm assuming they do that in corporate America too, right? You factor things in and say, okay, this is the risk associated with this. Is our end goal worth this risk? And if you have a chunk of the population who's not engaging in high-risk sexual activity, and then a chunk who is, and you need blood donations, then you're going to go with the blood from the people who are not having unprotected anal, is what I'm saying. I don't see that as homophobic, but sidetracked a little bit. Anyway, Jack Dorsey is the CEO. He founded Twitter. He tweets, he used some pay app, and he tweets that he used it at Chick Fil A, probably trying to just do a little promo for an app that I'm sure he's invested in or some shit. And people went fucking ballistic, because June is Pride Month. That's right, an entire month to be proud of being gay. The rest of the 11 months, they have to go back to being ashamed. Now, we love the gays, good people. Remember, like I said in a fresh episode of the podcast up, savagetree.libsyn.com, remember, I said, I believe, verbatim, if it wasn't for the gays, we wouldn't have lesbian porn. Chew on that if you're a homophobe, alright? No, but seriously, there's no reason to hate people just because they like different genitals than you. I think that's very silly. But Jack tweets it, and people are in a fucking uproar, and there's, how could you do this during Pride Month? It's Pride Month. I also love how they made June Pride Month. Like, what a great swipe at every father who ever disowned his son for being gay. And like, okay, yeah, happy Father's Day now, Dad. Yeah, we might hold the parade on that Sunday. See me on the news walking down the street in some assless chaps. Yeah. Now who's kicking who out of the house? Put your ass in a fucking nursing home, motherfucker. I bet it was probably a little sad. Put your ass in a nursing home, motherfucker. Probably a little more like that, a little sassier. And it's weird. It's weird that a chicken restaurant would willingly alienate so many people who like to feast on cock. But here's the thing. I think part of the American experiment here is that we are a land of massive diversity, and that has led to an odd push for inclusion at all costs. But I don't think it should be about inclusion at all costs. I think it should just be about going about your shit and accepting people's differences. Look, if the chicken restaurant makes great fucking chicken, then eat there. And then weigh their political views as such. If you're like, they're a fucking religious... Like, if you were traveling through the Midwest, and you were in, like, the fucking Bible Belt, say you had to, you're on the road for work, you're out in the Bible Belt, are you going to check, and you go to you're like, well, I'm not going to eat at these restaurants because I know they're... Are you going to check if, like, the mom and pop shop that you're going to go pick a sandwich up at, are you going to grill them about their fucking, their views on gay marriage before you buy a fucking turkey club? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I get, if there was, like, if they were hanging big signs of, like, the hanging of the gays, and they had, like, their commercials for Chick Fil A were just, like, were fucking, it was, like, a bunch of cows helping ISIS push like, a gay chicken off of a roof in Syria, and then they were like, eat more chicken. I would see how that might make you not want to eat at Chick Fil A. That would make perfect sense to me. But if it's just like, it's owned by these old fucking silly religious people who think it's bad that Adam puts his dick in Adam's butt, or Adam puts his dick in Steve's butt, they do the old, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Whatever, man. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. Have your view. There's a fucking a broad line of demarcation to be drawn between people who disagree with a lifestyle and people who want to hurt and punish you for it. And I think we are better as a society if we see that more clearly, and we say, okay, look, you and I, we can get over our differences. I get you don't agree with what I'm doing. I don't agree with what you're fucking doing. I think it's weird that you go and you put on nice clothes every Sunday and sit on an uncomfortable bench and listen to a child molester sing for a while and then pray to a magic sky man. I think that's weird as fuck too. And they can be like, hey man, I think it's weird as fuck that you guys put on assless chaps and shove your wieners in each other's butts and then suck the poop off of them. That's all. I assume that's what happens with gay sex. I don't know. I've never participated, so I have no fucking clue. I have to check with my brother. He's a subject matter expert. Yeah, I think part of being an American is just accepting each other's ridiculous, silly differences, as long as they are not injurious to your life, liberty, or property. And like I said, if Chick Fil A, if they were just going around, if you were a gay person, you walk into Chick Fil A and like they the guy at the register is like, yeah, let me get 2 faggot specials, and they were slipping like Metamucil or rat poison or some shit into your milkshake, whatever you get there at Chick Fil A. I haven't been in a while. I'm kind of craving it now, to be honest. I might get some over the weekend, but yeah, then we would have something there. If you're right, if you went to Chick Fil A and they were offering something called the faggot special, which was a regular Chick Fil A just filled with poison, then I think we'd be then you'd be onto something, Mary Sue, if that's even your real name. But anyway, that's it for me. I just drank a robust cup of keto coffee, keto Guido, yeah, buddy. And so I must take a dump before I head into the coal mines for the day. Remember, at Gary_Moiler on fuck's that thing called? Instagram, Facebook.com/The Savage Crew, and where am I on Twitter? At Mike Montone on Twitter, and fresh episode of the podcast up at thesavagecrew.libsyn.com. Shout out Michael Mike, what's happening, Mudrat? Good to see you checking in. Catch you guys later.